Welcome back. In the first part of this video, we extracted a row with Python from our website, and we did all these steps line by line without using a loop. So let's accumulate all the code and we will make it ready for preparing a loop, because these steps can be easily implemented using a loop. The code varies only in few parts, and most of the part of the code is fixed. So if we go to the top of the process, we started with getting our data into a soup variable, and from here we got our first row from the soup. So let me copy the text and accumulate it in sequence. Doing so usually helps you in understanding how the code is structured and what parts of the code are can be used in a loop and what parts remains fixed. This was just for information to get the length of the column. We do not need this info. So if we want to remember, we can remember that a total of 14 columns exist. So the loop will go from 0 up to 14. And this line was used to get the text in the first column and first cell. So the cell text was extracted using the text object dot text. So let me copy this part as well, because we shall need it in the further process. So this was our second step. I think we missed one, because when we extract the text to rows, we need to find all the columns. So the column variable needs to be extracted from the row variable. This was our column variable. Okay, so now we extracted the row. From the row we extracted all the columns. From the columns we extracted the first cell, and then we process the cell uh, like this. We remove this unnecessary text. We remove the any space between the text cells, and then we append it to a list. So let's copy all these, and I'll change few variables for better readability. Over here, when we extract the contents of the cell, we write it to a Python list. So if I'm using the append command with the list, I need to create an empty list first. So I'm typing plist because this is Python list. You can give any appropriate name, and the blank list can be created with 2 square brackets. And now once the empty list is created, you can keep appending to it and accumulate results in that. So this is, I think, the all the text that we needed. From this soup variable we get the first row, and then all the columns in the first row are extracted to the call variable. The th tag is HTML tag that is used for the header row. Later on, when we extract other cells, we will use a TD tag instead of TH. And then from each column, we extract cells one by one. So dot text method is used with that, and we have observed that in our text there is some unusual characters like these, so I'm replacing them with nothing. So the last part, single quotes, in between there is no space or nothing, so this specific text will be replaced with nothing. Similarly, let me move it to some other place. Yeah, here, so that the process seems more organized. Then we write the clean text to variable clean, and we further clean if there is any empty space in the extracted text. We replace it again with nothing. Once all the cleaning is done, we append the extracted cleaned text to Python list. So if I run this, and if we now check the plist variable, we have got the first cell value, which is symbol. If we go to the website, this is our table from where we are extracting the data, and in the first column, in the first row, the cell has a text of symbol and our next cell is year, which again we want to extract, but this time we shall change the cell index from 0 to 1. So let's go back to our code, and we shall change just one variable in this whole code, and the variable that we shall change is the column index. So let me change it to 1, and I'll also type plist at the end so that we can see the result once it is ready. It has extracted year, but there is a problem. It did not append, rather it replaced, and the reason is that we have redefined an empty list. So this empty list was not required. In the second block of code, so we run this block again, and then we run this block. So now in the Python list we have two variables. Okay, we can automate this process by using a loop, and the loop will look like, again, just the regular text that we have used in the previous block, but we shall change this specific constant to some variable. Let's call this variable I, and since we have 14 columns, I can use for loop. So for variable I, and then I'm using a range command, range function, which will start from 0 up to 13. And then we have to indent this full code using a tab key. So actually I'll start it from 1 up to 13 because in the first block of code we are creating an empty list. Either we can also start it from 0, but then we have to define the empty list outside the loop. So let's read this code. From a range of 0 to 13, and this line again does not need to be repeated in this loop, because once we extract a row, it does not need to be re-extracted each time because we are processing the same row. So from the row variable we are trying to find all the th variable, and again once we extract a column we do not need to extract it again, so it will also go outside the loop. And then from different columns we are now extracting text. Once it is extracted, we replace the unwanted characters in the text. Once that is done, we want to replace the empty or the spaces with nothing, and we want to then append the extracted text to the Python list, and once the loop is complete we want to read the Python list. So once we run it, we have extracted all the text from symbol up to EPS, and our data goes up to dividend. So I think we have missed one last column from the loop, therefore I'll make it 14. And now let's run this loop again. So now we have extracted all the cells from the first row of the table. We have extracted all the cells from the first row of the table. Now what can we do with the Python list? For more organized data, we can convert it to pandas data frame, and it can be easily converted to pandas data frame. Let's create a data frame with the name df. It will be equal to pd, and we'll apply the data frame method. Remember, the d and f should be capitalized, otherwise you'll get an error. And in between we pass on the Python list name. So the Python list was p list. And if we now read the data frame, so now it is in the format of data frame. Okay, great. Now how to process the next row? We can process the next row very easily by changing the row variable. So now this block of code can be further modified to make the row variable to make the row index as a variable. Right now we used it as a constant. So if we just change the row number, if we index 1 means row number 2, and in row number 2 the th will change to td because the first row in this table is has a tags of th, which is table headers, and all other cells have a tag of td. So if you right click and then click on inspect, you shall see the coding behind it. So you see all these cells have a tag of td, and the first before that there is a, let's select this row, it has a tag of th. So for the second row, all cells have a tag of td. So I've changed it, and in all subsequent runs of this code we shall use td instead of th. And don't worry about the plist variable. It is again created as empty, and because we have passed the plist to data frame, so the previously created Python list will be destructed, and we do not need that as we had transferred its contents to data frame. So don't worry about that. So remember, to get the second row we pass the index of 1 and we change thus the th to td, and that's all. And let's run this code. So we got the contents of the second row, and remember how we converted it to data frame. So let's write it to data frame number 2. And df2. So now we have two data frames which we need to merge to make one, so that the row headers comes in the first column and the numeric values come in the second, third, fourth and fifth columns. So how do we append the second frame as a column to the first frame? There can be several ways, but the most simplest one is to write it to the first data frame as a variable. So remember, how do we create variables in pandas? So I'm typing the name of the data frame, and then I give it just any name to the column that it will be created. Let's see that it has the year tag of 2018, so I may write 2018. So I'm just creating a variable 2018, and it is equal to data frame number 2. So now let's see our data frame. It has added year 2018 to it. While I was practicing, I had already created this variable, and I gave it a name of 2017. So now if you repeat this process, it will keep on adding columns to it. So at the moment seems that this specific column is not needed, which I created during my practice. So let's delete this column. To delete a column, we type del, then name of the data frame and name of the column. So it will delete the data frame from the it will delete the column from the data frame. So now if we see our data frame, both the columns are in one place. We can repeat this process one more time, and then we can shift on to loop for the rows as well. So we are creating a Python list. This time we are processing the third row, so index 2. We don't need to change the TD because all other cells have a tag of TD, and we then create a Python list and keep on appending results to it. So this is our next row, and we write it to a data frame. Remember, how do we do this? It doesn't matter whether you give it again the name of data frame 2 or 3, because we have already merged data frame 2 into our main data frame. So the data frame 2 is now almost redundant. We do not need it. Therefore, I'm replacing the previously created data frame with df2, and once it is created, then to our main data frame we shall add it, and since it is year 2017, I'll give the column name as 2017, and that will be equal to df2. So if we read our df now, we have now 3 columns. So this process can be repeated over and again. And if I go to the to the table, how many rows do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have a total of 11 rows. So this code can be repeated in a loop. So let's create a for loop and call this for loop as row number in this range. So if I want to keep the previously created data, my loop will start from row number 3 up to 11. And all this code is now part of the first loop. So we have to indent, select all the text, and then press tab key. Now we have defined a variable rn which we can use here. Instead of manually entering these values, we will use the variable values. And we can also automate the process of creating data frames and appending to them. So actually there are 2 more steps that we need to repeat, and they'll be part of the first loop. It is not part of the second loop. So this is why I am writing it outside this loop. Then our second line for processing the data frame. I've added this line to make the column name as variable. Whenever we run the loop for this row, the column name is automatically generated. Previously, we wrote the column name as year 2017, so the next should be year 2016. So as we move, the year should decrease by 1. Therefore, I am using a trick of 2017 minus I. So I is defined here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So since it starts with 0, I may write minus 1. And once and the str function tries to convert these numeric values to string, then this specific result, it will, once it gives us 2017, it will be converted to string. So it will be merged with y. So ultimately it should look like y 2016. And this variable then is passed on to the data frame as a column. Previously we wrote the data frame column name with single quotes, but since now it has become Python variable, we do not need quotes around this specific text. So let's give it a try. There is a spelling mistake. Let's run it again. And the loop has successfully completed. There was an error. Let's see whether it created a problem or not. So we have some results, and it went up to the last one, but it did not. We don't see the other columns. Let's explore what might be causing this. Okay, after investigation, I realized that this specific I variable was not actually appropriate here. It was the Rn variable, that is the variable defined in the upper loop, because each time the I variable is each time it is run, the I variable reaches to its maximum, that is 14. So it creates a constant of 2003. So instead of using the I variable, we need to use the Rn variable. So let's so far we have run it for 3 rows. So I'll start with the fourth one. And we'll keep on appending the results to the data frame. Let me delete the previous data frame. And yes, now we have the results for all the rows and all the columns and all the cells. Okay, our next task is to transpose this data frame to rows to columns and columns to rows. It can be easily done. So let's call it DFT. I am not disturbing the DF, we might need it. So DF dot T, capital T, will transpose this data. So let's see what I mean by that. Okay, now what if we want to use these as the column names instead of 1 2 3 4 5? So we can do that in actually 3 steps. We'll first extract all the data starting from this index till the end. So we'll not, and in the second step we'll write all the values in the first row, and in the third step we'll assign the first row to the extracted data as column names. So this is how we do it in 3 steps. So let's see how we can do that. So let's create a variable, call it head, and write the name of the data frame, then use the iLock method, and we are getting the first row out of it. So this variable, this specific data frame, this specific variable head has all the contents of the first row. So this is our first step. In the second step, we take the data less the header row. So we redefine the DFT data frame and use the slicing notation. So it will be from row 2 till end. So the DFT will now not include the first row. That had, we have removed the first row from it. And now in the third step, we assign this DFT or header which we had extracted in the first step. So DFT dot columns. This is how we redefine the columns and assign the head variable. For DFT, we received an error. Let's see what happened. Oh yes, there was a typing mistake in the columns. And here we go. So we have got the column headers right. Now the index of this specific data frame is a little bit awkward. If we want to get the usual index of 0, 1, 2, 3, we can use the reset index method. And now we have a normal 1, 2, 3 index. And this specific variable index, can we get rid of it? We can use either the drop method or delete method. So let's try. First of all, actually we have to write it to itself. So DFT is equal to DFT reset index. And now let's try another method for dropping a column. So DFT is equal to DFT dot drop, and then we pass on the name of the column. So name of the column is index. It says index was not found. So let's see. Okay. Actually, when we want to drop a column, we have to type the axis is equal to columns, so that it knows that we are dropping a column. So once we run this code, and then we see the index is gone. And as a last step, we would like to transfer this data to Excel. So that is the name of the data frame dft dot to Excel, and name of the Excel file. So we did it for OGDC symbol. Let's call it 2.xlsx, and we have to put quotes around the file name. So the file was written to Excel, and if you want to see where it is located, so we type pwd. It is in the Dropbox Python Jupyter folder. This is our OGDX2, and the data is in the form of string, which we should convert first to numbers before importing into Excel, or we can do like this, select all this and convert all to numbers. But it can also be done within the Python. So we change the type to float, and if we do not want the index, we will type index equal to false in the export command. So here we have got all the data that we needed, and our next task might be that how we can use this loop to run through companies. So this specific code that we used, this one, we can add further loop to repeat this process for all companies, which we might see inshallah in the next video.